How you doing, Facebookers and YouTubers? This is John Sweet Justice, hoping to bring you a small tutorial whereby I'm going to explain the gold standard. Now, I'm sure many of you coin collectors out there already know about the gold standard. This is for those who don't know. Well, I'm trying to give them a little insight as I've learned many things from different people on YouTube. One especially, Silver Searcher, which is David Jensen, and Silver Slacker, and some other guys that it's too much of a list, but these two guys I've learned a lot from. One is the gold standard. At one time, if you had $10 in the bank, or guaranteed that was, that the United States Treasury would back that up with $10 worth of gold. So you had $10 in your hand, you go to the grocery store, and the bank should have $10 worth of gold in their reserve. Since President Nixon came into power, he eliminated the gold standard. That was known as the gold standard. $10 here. The government is saying we got $10 of gold. Have no fear. This paper is good. Well, that is no longer to be, folks. Now, since Nixon took the gold standard away, when you present this, which was what they call fiat money or petrol money, it's something that's pretty much worthless. If you notice, every time you go to the grocery store, twice a week, once a month, you notice the same things you're buying slowly go up in price. Soon you'll have to be taking some kind of shopping cart full of money just to buy a grocery for 1 week. This is not just me. This is happening across the nation, and I'm sure it is. And if it is, you can just let me know. Drop a message down in the comment box, and I'll try to get back to you. So now that means if we have no gold in our treasury, the United States government is printing money like crazy. And it's just money. Now, if I found this out, many years later, but I still found out, and I'm glad I did. If you're someone with $1,000 in the bank or more, you should be really considering some of my videos regarding gold standard and money and what your dollar is worth. Now, you look around, you go shopping, you'll see, I'm sure everyone's complaining. You never heard so many people in the United States complain about economy. Well, of course, at least 98% of us. Those who work, those who are disabled, those who can't work, whatever position you're in, what the middle class used to be is now like the lower class. They need two people in a family to work. They can't make ends meet. They owe their car, they owe their houses. When will it ever end? You never own anything. So here's the deal. If the United States keeps printing money like crazy, if you looked at any of the YouTube videos where you see President Bush speaking to Arabs and sheiks about business, what we don't hear is what they're talking about. And what the Arabs and the Muslim community that deal with Bush and people of this nature or category are saying they don't want to use the petrodollar. They don't want to use fiat money. The Saudis and those people who have a lot of money who want to invest, they want to do business. They don't want war. But the United States is trying to shove the petrodollar up the Arabs and Muslim communities. So if you're one of the sheiks who have billions of dollars in oil, you don't want to get paid with paper money. So at one time, they wanted the gold standard. In other words, if the United States is trading with Saudi Arabia or any other country, those countries want to see gold or silver, but mostly gold. They don't want to play around with this paper money because they know soon they're going to go downhill. The United States is just printing too much money. Unless President Trump changes this standard and makes things better, the shit's going to hit the fan sooner or later. Even right now, if you got $10,000 in the bank, go try to take $8,000 out. Try to take 80% of your money out. If you got over $1,000, and see how the bank will give you a hard time. If you go with a measly check of $80, even though you have no money in your account, but you're a member of that bank for years, they still won't cash your check. You have to wait a day. Now imagine you have a lot of money and you try to take 80% of your money out. So that's going to be a big disappointment because the bank's going to tell you no. If you had $10,000 in the bank right now and try to get $8,000, go ahead. I dare you. Go out and try to get your money. You can put it back in the bank, but watch what happens. You won't be able to get your money. The day the shit hits the fan means that when the economy drops and all these numbers on Wall Street drop, even if you have invested in gold and silver, you just have paper money in your hand. And when those numbers drop, your paper is not worth anything. Whether the stock exchange paperwork or dollar bills are not going to be worth anything. When you go to your ATM, you're going to be surprised when the bank doesn't give you money. Why? Because those banks are going to fail. Those banks are going to close down, and everybody's going to lose their money. Just like everybody lost their houses a few years ago and they had that big bailout. The federal government tells the IRS, here's your banks. The banks go to the banks go to the federalities, to the Fed, and say we couldn't sell these houses. We had to take them back. And what does the federal government do after the banks took all your money, all the Americans that lost money all these years? They forgive the banks and let them take their houses back. So what happens to the money that John and Mrs. John Doe paid throughout the years? They don't get no money back, but the banks get a break. So the Fed just keeps on rolling and selling houses that were accepting money for, and then with page number 999, because when you sign one of these contracts, you need 7 lawyers in 6 days to figure out what you're signing. But since they're telling you, take this house, you can afford it, you're only going to pay $800 a month. 2 years later, you get this balloon payment, and all of a sudden your rent goes up to $2,000. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to fight. So we get the shaft, in other words. We're not smart enough to start a revolution because not everybody feels the same way, and I really don't want a revolution. I just want the economy to be fixed so that normal people, people like myself, senior citizens, disabled, can have their meals and live their last years in peace. And for those women who are unfortunate to be with 2 and 3 children without a father, they need help. So we need to stop playing around with the money. We need to get together with the other countries and make this country strong again. Not that I'm having a slogan for anyone. I mean, my father raised me and my 2 sisters with a measly salary, yet he managed to do that. And he did that for many years. And my father always was a good man. He always provided. So I'm not saying he was less or more than any other man, but during those times, you could buy a bunch of groceries with $100. Try it now. So if you have money in the bank, more than $1,000, beware. Because the Arabs are not people who want to fight. They want to make money like anyone else. What people do in their countries is their problem. We don't need to interfere. I know, we seem like the bullies of the world, and sometimes I feel the same way. If this is only for the 1%ers of America to get rich while we're suffering here, while people in Syria who are being Catholic and having their heads chopped off and all this, because the sheiks, the Arabs, they do not want petrodollars. What I just described as the fiat dollar. How is the country going to do billions of dollars in business and you're giving them a bunch of paper? So they can't do that. They see it coming. Japan sees it coming. China sees it coming. The Russians see it coming. And this is what the war is all about, because we're trying to shove it up the people's, you know what, to be forced to take the American dollar. And as Americans, we really can't do anything. We voted these people, or some people voted these people into power. Things are not getting better. You can I leave my things in the hands of God, and I try to be grateful for everything that I have every day. But things do not look good for our children, for our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. Unless President Trump just creates some financial snafu where he'll put money in everybody's pocket. There's a lot of talk of taxes being cut and whatnot, but seeing is believing. I don't want to hear the news and their little great news of tax cuts. I want to see the normal average neighbor be able to survive with his wife and 2 kids and just none of them have to work. One of them would have to work and the other one could at least be a mom. The government would save money and all this child care and kindergarten care and all these things that a woman might be able to do. And if they don't need that economy, a woman can maybe stay home and be a mother and raise some good children. I mean, many mothers out there who are single are raising good children. But children sometimes need discipline. And that's where a man comes in, because sometimes a kid needs to be pulled by his ear. You don't have to beat him up. But nevertheless, we have too many young men out there who are not being fathers, who are not being real men, and only taught by other kids in the street who don't have a father either. So we need to get some of our cultural values back up. Stop the hatred. Stop passing on ridiculous FB messages or YouTube where people are getting killed. I mean, it's your prerogative. This is a free country. You could watch what you want. But do we really need to keep spreading this type of news around? No, I really don't think so. I saw something once, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was so gross. And after I saw it, I said, oh my God, I can't unsee this now. But I'm not going to see it again, and I'm not going to pass it to anyone. It was too disgusting. I guess Facebook should have a page called disgustingfacebook.com where you could just put all the disgusting things you want and no one would complain, and let the average normal families be able to enjoy Facebook in a saner way. So let's just have a delete button that says unclean stuff, no good. Same thing with YouTube. Things are not proper, then there should be a button that says adult language or some kind of warning. Whenever the case, I went into a rant, and the thing is, if you have over $1,000 in the bank, beware. Your money's shrinking. If you have $1,000 worth of gold or silver, especially in coins, because it would be easier to get rid of should there be some kind of truck strike with Pathmarkers and supermarkets or no food. With that little, if there's no money and the bank's closed, that silver will get you groceries. You'll be able to trade. Silver will be worth a whole lot more than what it is now. Save your silver if you can, and if you're someone with a lot of money, and those people with a lot of money do have a lot of silver in their banks, not in their banks, in their safe deposit banks at home, or in some kind of safe. If you don't believe me, just look up YouTube and why you shouldn't put your money in the bank. I'm not trying to destroy any banks, but the banks have screwed America over long enough. And if you don't see me after this video, it could mean I'm no longer here. But other than that, here's proof of what I said. I'm on Facebook every day, so if you don't see me during the next weeks or so, the bank people are out to get me. Seriously, don't put your money in the bank. And if you don't believe me, if you have a few thousand, go try to get 80% of your bank and watch the bank tell you. They'll give you a bank check, which is more paper. No, you want money. What if you want money? Cash. Try that and you'll see. I hope this was a benefit of some people, and I hope I spoke clearly enough so some of you could understand. And I'm not the linguistic of the year, so I just want to thank you for your audience. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Even if you don't like my video, help me out. I'm trying to grow here as a coin collector. Thanks again to Silver Slacker and Silver Searcher, David Jensen. You've been of great help, and I'm showing my son also how to do the coin roll hunting at the banks, and I think he's getting into it. And I think it's a good suggestion and hobby for all those who even may just have just a little money in the bank. If you do, consider silver. I have no company that's backing me up except the Bullion Exchange. I just made a few nice purchases from them on some kookaburras, which I'm going to show you when I receive them by Friday. They're excellent, and I'll show you their quality, and I got them at great prices, of which I will reveal in my next tutorial or video regarding coins. Thank you, Facebookers, and enjoy the rest of this Sunday. God bless, and have a good night. This is Johnny Stacks.